In the top left-hand position from Team Azubu, which is a Korean game networking company, it is Violet. Violet, one of the most successful Zergs in 2012. Ben and I have compiled the NASL leaderboard. Violet was ranked number 2 for a long time, but with Dongryungu's recent performance in OSL, Violet's now 3rd behind DRG and MC. In the bottom right, we have Alicia, formerly from Team Slayers, now currently teamless. He's fielding a couple requests from foreign teams. No one knows exactly where he's going, but his other former teammates, Crank and Ryung, have joined Axiom officially. Really cool to see Slayers players getting picked up and getting recognition. I hope for the rest of them, like some of the people in our league, like Arthur, who's performed really well, Darks, who performed really well. I really hope they get picked up as well. They're too good to pass up talent-wise.
Could not agree more. Alicia loves vicious two-base all-ins, in the words of Frodan. Ohana is one of the best maps for the Immortal play we just saw on Daybreak. The geography of the third base makes it tough to engage a Protoss army that gets that far. And the geography of the natural makes it really hard to counterattack. So I think Alicia, if he's going to sort of follow the trends that we know him for in this matchup, might opt for something just like that.
That's going to depend a lot on the early scouting as well. Violet's going to do some very typical 15 pool, expand, maybe double hash before gas, and from there going to be able to get up his economy. And I do agree with what you say, but at the same time, Violet's also one of those players unafraid to pull triggers. I think, let's see, back when a year and a half now, yeah. Back when I was casting play-in, I used to watch Violet do all these sick two-base attacks. Now, it was on maps like Shatter Temple and Tal'Darim Altar, maps that wouldn't let you take a fast third base just by the sheer amount of rocks that were blocking you. But Violet can pull those off very successfully. So he's capable of those kinds of styles. Alicia can't just underestimate it. And Violet, as much as people used to peg him as a cheesy player, he has turned into a macro player. But don't forget, he had that reputation of just being the Zerg that would non-stop attack.
I remember watching him develop from this crazy two-base player to the champion of the Intel Extreme Masters Global Challenge in Sao Paulo, Brazil, to the MLG Spring Arena champion, where after that he went on to just continually place very high in multiple events. Here we see him not wanting to reveal his fast third base plans to Alicia, hiding that drone. Looks like he's going to maybe take it in the fourth. No, he's going to go right back to the third. And it will be standard Zerg play from Violet Alicia. We have no idea what to expect out of him, but I would not be very surprised to see him drop the robotics very, very soon.
Now, let's see. It is Ohana. It's a map that, just like you said, the Immortal All-In is really good. How does the Zerg deal with the Immortal All-In, Ben? Because I know you did a big spotlight on that. On a map like Ohana, what does Violet need to do if that's the case?
Well, you know, we just saw him do it on Daybreak, and really everything he did there, he'll have to repeat here. You cannot allow probes out on the map to plant pylons. He's already doing a very good job of being active with his Zerglings, denying that. Alicia almost certainly will scout this third hatchery, but by Violet seeing this probe, no pylon's going to go down. That's excellent play out of Violet already. It's actually going to be Stargate play from Alicia. Where is that Stargate? It's in the back of his main base. Very cool choice. I cannot wait to see how he plays that out. If it were an Immortal All-In, just to answer your question, Dan, the key is buying time. Get behind it. Force the force fields to be used early. Stop pylons from going down. Stall for as long as you can. And while you're stalling, you build units and build units and build units. And at the last possible second, when you can't stall any longer, you attack from as many angles as you can and crush it.
That probe almost made it all the way to the opponent's base and back.
The incredible journey.
Yeah. Only to die steps away from freedom.
With his stalker buddy standing on the horizon.
He's like, you won't help me? He said, this test will only make you stronger, but I'm dying!
Reminds me of Troy, man. Those Zerglings were like, Hector! And he was running for his life.
Troy was a lot worse than I thought it would be.
I liked it, man.
It was a great cast, an awesome cast. And I remember reading the book for high school and like being very excited for the movie. But
the book?
Yes.
The book Troy?
Yes. There is a book Troy. Are you guys looking at me? Wait, someone please back me up on this. There's a book called Troy. Really? I need someone to give me validation on that. Someone in the chat, please tell MrBitter, tweet at him and let him know there is a book.
There very well may be, but
there is. I read the book.
Yeah, but Homer did not write a book called Troy.
I'm not saying Homer wrote a book. He wrote the Iliad and Odyssey.
Well, he didn't write those either.
What?
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
Wait,
what?
That was before writing, man. There were stories passed on through word of mouth.
I can't even understand.
Come on, man. You got to know your literary history.
I can't. Ben is an English major, but I feel like he's just trolling me right now. English was one of my worst subjects, by the way. I was not that good of a writer. But my teacher always thought I was a good writer. She just thought I was lazy. And I'm like, no, I'm just a bad writer. She's like, no, you have the potential. And she'd make me write the essay like 4 different ways.
Yeah, that story's from the Iliad, Dan.
But there's a book, I swear.
It's a book called Troy, a novel.
Yes.
It's written by 2 chicks.
No.
It's like a romance novel.
It's a Danielle Steele book. No. It's like a Jane Austen.
On the cover is just like a 6-pack and a bow tie.
It's about a guy and his love affair.
His name was Troy. His chiseled features excited me.
Oh my God, 50 Shades of Troy.
Alicia not going for the cheesy 2-base play. He's trying to take a fast third, but Violet is hip to this, man. Zergling's going to get into the third and shut it down. That cannon. Oh, the cannon. Can it stay alive? No,
wow,
it cannot.
That force field is not helping at all with the protecting end. Violet being very aggressive like we were talking about, not really being passive. Alicia losing way more than he ever should. In fact, only 1 Stalker and 1 Zealot trapping themselves or really making sure to lock it down. But more Zerglings are reinforcing as well. Probes trying to get pulled into the action at the same time. Zealots holding as best as they can. Look at this. More Zerglings coming in. While Violet, of course, transitions into Infestor play. +1/+1 will finish, giving Zerglings more durability against the Protoss army. Overall, very nice exchange, killing off a significant amount of sentries.
Pretty sick play by Violet, really limiting the army of Alicia, but that third base is still up, and economically, we're fairly even. If Alicia can stabilize, if he can get a couple of Colossi out, of course, there is no robotics bay.
But he does have a robo, so that's a start. He hasn't really been able to utilize his star. He's doing a very nice build that that a lot of Protoss like to do. I know Kevin's a big fan, but the way he goes into this is double Robo Colossus, especially when you scout Infestor Ling. Want to get that 2 Robo Colossus production just to really whittle down any ability for Zerg to counter, especially since the biggest limitation to this composition is AoE. And you really just can't engage Infested Terrans and Fungals and Zerglings in combination.
Yeah, that's pretty much spot on. Pathogen Glands is about done. Infestors are on the way. Violet is making so many drones. He's up to 82 drones right now.
And he's making... oh, wait. Yeah, he's got an incredible amount. Jeez.
And he's just in a very comfortable position here. He's probably going to be starting his Hive Tech pretty soon. Again, we see him pushing out with Zerglings. He's going to try to pick a fight, but really, Alicia's too well positioned for it. I like that Alicia's managed to make it up to 3 bases like this. This is kind of cool. We don't normally see this out of him in this matchup. I still think he's in a difficult spot. Dropping the Dark Shrine, very interesting choice. And honestly, Dan, I've got to question it because he opened Stargate, so he forced Spore Crawlers. So there is detection. I think the only thing he could hope to achieve with this is to kill the 3rd base or the 4th base, but Violet is already putting a Spore Crawler there.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit counterintuitive. You just have the opportunity though to drop, especially with the Warp Prism coming out. And sure, there are Spore Crawlers, but if you just have 4 Dark Templars move in and kill the Spore Crawler,
that's true. Very, very true.
Control.
And Overseers take a pretty long time to build, so if something like that were to happen, then I think Alicia could maybe start to reap some rewards there. Roaches and Lings out in mass. They're going to try and shut down any attempts of Alicia to take any sort of map control. But Alicia's not trying to do that just yet. He's still sitting back. He's still being very patient, very passive.
This is a big hole has been exposed by the pylon dropping, and Alicia is out of position trying to defend his third base. Violet is baited out perfectly, whereas Infestors are burrowed underneath, ready to come in and fungal. There's a lot of sentries out in the open. If he can land onto him, he does. 2 Immortals are trying to section off the rest of the units, but the Infestors catching the fungals one last time. Goodbye, sentries. And a lot of the ability for Protoss to hold off against Zerg aggression has been punished. Not a lot of sentries.
So nicely executed by Violet, recycling Roaches and Zerglings, keeping his Infestors alive and killing very crucial sentries there. It's going to make Alicia feel like he can't move out. It's going to force Alicia to sit back and just be passive for even longer, and that gives Violet more time to get his Broodlord tech in play. Hive's done, man. Spire, I feel like is that the first Spire?
That is the first Spire.
I wonder if he accidentally canceled one. I swear I thought he built one earlier.
I don't know. Ooh, nice save on the Spore Caller as well at the 4th base. Infestor getting picked off by the Phoenixes, so nice trades there. Both players, playing pretty well in terms of their ability to harass and defend. Violet, the only thing that he hasn't really been very diligent upon is spreading creep into the middle of the map, but that's because he's just been so aggressive. But I feel like Violet's still in a very, very nice spot. His upgrades are sitting very nicely. Alicia can't even really dream of moving out to a 4th base for a while until he gets more consistent amount of AoE to deal with this, whether it's Colossus or even Archons or High Templars to deal with the Infestors. He just has no answer to the Infestors.
GTs are going to be continually sent around the map, but there's pretty much blanket detection everywhere. Violet's building lots and lots of spine crawlers. His Spire's done. Greater Spire should be starting any second now.
Saw the ripple. Wow. Now that the War Prism's also going into the main, Violet's also suspicious of it.
Fungal on the Phoenixes. That's another
Big
great
catches.
catch. I mean, these Phoenixes aren't really that impactful in the game at this point.
But they can disable Infestors.
Oh, catch up with Violet. Why did you let them leave? Instead, I guess he wanted to get the War Prism, which is probably a much more important kill. At the same time, though, Alicia is advancing on the map. He's got 190 supplies. This is a very scary Protoss army. Broodlords aren't ready yet. This is a great pre-Broodlord timing, and Roaches are going to suck against these Immortals.
Yeah, there's 6 Immortals, and as long as you have a Force Field catching them, but you have to be very careful not to get caught.
That's
a big withdrawal and a big blink. Great moves from both players to be able to try to read each other's movements, but the sentries get caught by the Fungals, and that's going to enable the Roaches to move in. Without the Roaches, without the sentries to defend, the Immortals can be very exposed, considering the Zerglings can buffer for a long time. Violet also has a very strong amount of follow-up.
Oh man, the Infestors just doing so much for this army. Every Infestor caught, every Immortal caught, every Immortal killed. And this 4th base will not even fall. That looked like such a great push, but the fact is, without any real area of effect damage, there's just too much Zerg, man. No Storms, no Colossi, and no answer to this great Zerg player, Violet. Everything will be cleaned up, and I do believe we will be seeing Alicia tap out shortly. There it is. Good game gets called. Violet will finish Season 4 with an undefeated record.
8-0. Violet dominating his group. We kind of pegged Violet to do really well in NASL. We said Violet and Hero were the 2 guys that were the favorites, but Hero struggling a little bit in his Division 5 and 3, and I say that with a grain of salt because Hero is still a phenomenal player, but Violet 8-0, not really contested, finishes the season with a +11 map score. This guy's a monster.
Stamps.com, sponsor of our last game. Hassle-free postage from your PC. NASL.tv/P/stamps.
Our next series of the day will be Ret versus Hasuabs. The Protoss versus Zerg. Ret needs this win to stay in the North American Star League. Hasu still fighting for a playoff spot. We'll find out what happens right after this.